Thank you. Welcome back to this another segment of the Voice of the Ignored Guru. Please, before we proceed, help us and subscribe and follow not to miss any segment. I'm Nahania Nicholas, your usual host, and I'm an accountant, and I'm also an actor. I'm also a graphic designer, and we present to you different issues that are affecting the young people of this nation. And I host this show together with my friend.
My name is Degracious Akamprida. I'm a graduate teacher of English literature. I'm also a law student. But I can also be an MC on a party. You know, we are trying to rectify unemployment. So I can also do that. We are trying to diversify. Of course, yeah, so today we welcome you to yet another show of the Ignored Vazukuro. Like we told you, we are the voices of the Ignored Vazukuro, and we make sure that we bring issues that the young people are experiencing, so that we could actually have, change in policies, change in decision making, because we feel the young people are 75% of the general population. So today, we are actually talking about why the youth so much disengaged from national politics, and could they really revitalize the political parties in 2026? It is what we are looking at. We've often heard that, or may not only heard, but observed, but that the youth are so much detached from politics. Most of them seem to suggest that they do not have a stake in this world, and they seem to have that apathy. Their participation has been minimal, and we are asking this time around, what is the rationale behind them being so much disengaged? And it is what we are talking about. Today we host, of course, distinguished young people, and we host Dr. Kakuru Kosima. Dr. Kakuru Kosima is the panelist for the Ignored Vazukuru. In every other show, we are always with him. And so we also host a young distinguished gentleman who is called Deine Amasko Bonix. Bonix is an aspirant, a guild president for Makerere University. He wants to be the 92nd guild president in the coming, is it the coming year or this very year?
In the coming year.
Next year. In the coming year. So I'll give them an opportunity for everyone to introduce themselves, and then we can get to start. Thank you so much. I will start with Doctor.
Thank you so much. And yet again, we're here to deliberate on issues. My name, as usual, is Dr. Kakuru Kosima, the usual panelist. I am a medical doctor trained from Uganda, and for a short time practiced in Uganda. At the moment, I am doing the medical internship for all doctors, for all graduate doctors, majorly at Kawempe National Referral Hospital, and once in a while, Cherudu National Referral Hospital. I have passion for issues that affect my country, and maybe in the near future, I should take a step that will make that assertion significant.
We will support you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then we have another gentleman here on my left.
Pleasure being with you today. I'm happy for this other podcast. My name's Bonex Beinamasko. Breaking barriers is one of the things I've believed in. And as we head on for the 2026 general elections, the youth have literally a very big complementary role in matters of national importance. And I'm here today to make sure I give a light and give the best argument for the preparation that we need to have as the youth to be able to make an impact for our society. Thank you for hosting me.
Thank you so much. So the topic for today, we are going to talk about the national elections, and we believe that this is the basement or the foundation of the administration of the country. If it does not go well, then even the proceeding time will not be will not be a good time for us to give.
Sure.
So recently we have seen more political parties being registered. Very many of them, people, shifting from a certain political party going to another political party. But what has been common, we have not seen young people being engaged even in these newly created political parties. Do we actually even need these new political parties in the politics of this country? Over to you, Doctor. Why are young people disengaged in politics?
Thank you so much. So it's a difficult question to answer, because whereas we form the largest portion of the country, statistically, essentially we would be the people that determine the outcome of these democratic processes. And I put democratic in quotes for reasons that are clear to many Ugandans. People have to get vehicles that will make their ambitions come to realities. And so people form parties, which for me is okay, because as long as a party, one, it is democratic, we are in a dispensation of the many parties. But like you said, it is rightly so. We don't see young people feature in these parties. One would wonder why, and why we are so much disengaged from likely the outcome of the next election. And that's an allegation, because things may turn out otherwise. Now we have a big chunk of young people that have been swallowed up in a difficult country, a country where to make the ends meet is a whole other difficult thing. And that does not give people a chance to sit down and, reflect on what they can do to influence the leadership of their country. It is very hard to find a young man that is struggling to survive downtown, at the same time doing whatever research is necessary so that they advance their participation in elective politics. A young man is in Kabale, and all they can survive on is to go at a neighbor's garden and dig. You don't expect that man to sit down and come up with ideas that will front their ambition of, taking part in elective politics.
So they've been swallowed up by the survival.
So they've been swallowed up by a very difficult country, and it's hard to see them. It is no wonder that people that come up, and maybe I'll talk about this later, the quality is alarming. The quality of young people that are showing up for elective politics is as alarming as never before.
And actually,
we are at a level where you see an MP aspirant, and you're like, oh God.
Not only that, even a presidential aspirant. Actually, sometimes I think that it is an intended move to make it look like young people do not have the potential. You see the likes of Katumba Oye.
Yes.
You see that it looks like an intended move.
We can say so, but even where the people have come up themselves, because we have people, and this is public, it is not defamation, so I can unapologetically talk about it. Recently we had an MP to be over division in Kampala. That's the elite class of the country, Kampala. But this man was asked basic questions. What are the roles of an MP? And he didn't know. This man was asked of bills that had been passed recently. And he clearly didn't know.
But he wanted to be an MP.
But he wants to go and be an MP and do things that he actually doesn't know. So the quality of people that are coming up makes it so apparent that surely we shall the young people won't have a significant role in the upcoming elections.
You see, we've had new political parties emerging. They are coming, and I think even up to now, yeah, PFF, we have DA. We have Ecology. I had a party, you know,
Mohamed
Insereko. Then we have this for Matthias Mpuga. And then we have those minor political parties that have been there. The
for me,
is significant.
For me, I can only look at 3 political parties that will probably play a significant role in the political landscape that is upcoming. That is the ruling party, National Unity Platform, and PFF. FDC is surely no longer there.
PFF, how do you rate PFF? Yet it has just been registered yesterday. I have done nothing here.
I am looking at the people that make it up.
The structures.
I would ask you 3 people that are so significant at Najana and Kud, and you'd struggle to tell me who they are. But if I ask you 5 people from Katonga, at least you know this day, you know Semunju, you know Mwijuche.
That was a presidential candidate in the previous elections.
Well, we can assess how he performed.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bonix, what have you got to say about youth being disengaged from politics and the current political party atmosphere that is being presented to us as young people?
The youth, I will call it discrimination. The youth are not being the target group in the current political spheres simply because you probably have an 8-year-old president whose ideas are associated with the 75, 69 delegates. He probably thinks the young people have no influence in the political guideline. So if you wouldn't, of course, see him associate with the 35-year-old. So literally the age and the nullification from how the political environment has been is they have so much probably thought that this can only work out if the old people are the only people engaging in politics. That is why they are suffocating positions that would have given the youth the chance to represent the people. So the current ruling government now has a very big agenda. It has a very big hand in suffocating the politics, and we could talk about democracy. We could talk about the validity of the 3 arms of government, and you literally realize that that's like it's not practical here in Uganda. So the setting of a society is that even when someone would show up at 20 and they're capable of becoming an MP, a member of parliament, or a legislature, or a legislator, or any other position, you still have a society that attaches meaning to old people than the young people. So it does much. We need to think about a lot, and we need to think a lot to do with the mindset change. 1, 2, empowering, which I think has been to actually they're empowering women than the men. I think there is a misconception about woman emancipation, and to me, they have thought that empowerment can only be done to the women. So it literally doesn't have to
marginalize the special interest group.
Yeah, and that is why the youth are taken to be
the men special interest group. And it is a misnomer that we need to dispel.
And it is very challenging. Even when you would want to associate yourself with the big brains, you're still taken to be some group.
They bring us that we don't have the potential
now, and the potential now. Where I have a problem is that the youth that could have engaged in politics have taken a stand. They have actually left the so-called politics to the older people. That is why we're having trouble with corruption. lack of moral authority, lack of values, and lack of consideration. So you will realize that the society is divided into classes: the middle class, then there are those that the elites, and then there are those that are still earning to have a meal a day. Then so this society does not balance for the political spheres we can talk about, all the political knowledge.
So the ground is not.
Thank you, Bonix.
Yes.
Before I invite the Gracious, there are three issues that I want us to agree on. First, there is what we call political satire, but now it is circus. Like the political atmosphere, it welcomes even a fool to participate in politics. But even when it is like that, because we see now entertainment has been, it is 50% of it is in politics.
No
Comedians
wonder.
are in politics. Everyone is in politics.
No wonder.
Why are youth not engaging? Two, I think, me personally, I believe that we are not engaging in politics because it is not a safe place for us. When you look at the statistics from the last elections, you realize that 90% of the people who are in prison are young people who were imprisoned during elections.
Yes.
So there's no way going to convince me to go back on the street or to go and campaign and they take me to prison. Secondly, elections are expensive and we are poor, we are unemployed. We cannot participate in an election where we need 1 billion to campaign and win an election.
So that's the level he's talking about.
That's the level of
the ground is not.
The level of politics is not grounded.
Yes,
We don't have a balance. We don't have a balance sheet for the politics in Uganda. The society is being divided because they know probably that's a mechanism on the divide and rule
So it still remains a fact that those three things that we keep mentioning: money, influence, power. Now, last time we had the last election was a bit rare that we had people who had money but failed to make it, especially in this central Uganda, because they ticked their box of influence. We had what we call the wealth. So you have a certain 28-year-old uprooting a vice president. You have a certain 32-year-old uprooting a big minister. Because at least you are ticking one. But if you don't tick any of those three, it's theory, you will never make it.
What is your take on the current situation of the youth being disengaged from the
First of all,
politics?
the ignorant person should understand that every one of us is interested in taking part in the leadership of our country. The only problem is that this has been an intentional move because they know that young people actually have the potential and can get to be radical, putting in consideration that whatever mesh that is created, then we can actually be the victims. Because we are trying to look at two different generations. Like I've heard of people oftentimes call it Gen Z, and then we also have now the other generation, and these two seem to be fighting one another. And if you try to look at that, you will consider that it is not actually about young people not getting interest in the politics, but it is a systemic exclusion basing on the policies which have been monetized, and politics has become, a business that can only be afforded by those who have money. I will tell you, I saw when one minister in northern Uganda, she was claiming that she gave out 500 million in a single day when she was campaigning. And so I would ask you that a young person has just graduated from university, they do not have jobs, like me, I'm an ignored Muslim, I'm an unemployed graduate, and then you would expect me, even when I feel I have the potential, that I would participate. And the other thing is that they have created an impression that is targeting to make sure that young people can look as people who don't have the potential and who are not fit to lead. Sometimes I feel that most of the politicians, or maybe young people who have come up to show interest in taking up the highest position, especially you tell that I have a feeling that most of them, it is even an intended move to make it look like we do not have the potential. When you see, like, I will give you an example, Katumba, who contested as for president, you would realize that he's not a kind of person you can tell that he's showing a picture of what young people are. And that is the picture they want everyone to understand, that we do not have that potential, we can actually bring comedy. And yet, we actually have young people who can really do the job very well, but they have targeted us. So in such a situation, you'll find that even when some of us are so much interested in politics, it is hard for us. And not only that, it is not only that is not the only reason. But look here at what is being done, especially those who are participating. We've seen radical young people who have come up also to protest. And you've seen how they have been imprisoned, how they have been tortured, even up to now. So if you told any young person, definitely they would say you are their enemy. And now you look at now the law that they are trying to bring out, the amendment in the UPDF Act, that is really targeting that those who are really planning, to come out and then participate, then definitely the court martial is waiting for them.
Does the law specify that?
It does not specify that, but we must understand.
Thinking out loud.
We must understand. We must understand the intention, and we must understand why, amidst all the other problems you have as a country, that is what was put on the lid, and even the pressure that was involved amidst all the irregularities. Even when we know that it was unlawful, because the Supreme Court judgment is not supposed, in any way to be contravened by a parliamentary act. So it is first of all illegal
to militarize everything.
It is first of all.
It wasn't specifically targeting the youth involvement in politics.
No, I'm looking at a bigger picture. I'm looking at a bigger picture. Why, in such a situation, would make that a priority amidst all the challenges we are facing as a country, and especially once we all know what our politics have been characterized of. Violence, militarization. And so when such is done, one, it is putting phobia in the young people, that as long as you come, now this is what is waiting for you. And we've seen what happened in Kawempe. So these are all the targeted moves that are making sure that young people can be disengaged. But I also have a reason that even when all these are happening, because we know power belongs to people, and if young people are really united and not also having
that is in democracy, I think in democratic countries maybe power
not only that, because we've seen in most countries where if young people actually get bothered, that they can have policy changes. But what happens in our country is that we have very few young people who can really feel that they are interested. That is why we talk of regions. There are regions that you will talk, but young people cannot even participate in leadership at a village level. Not because they don't have potential, but young people were also a disappointment in one way or the other. I'm not going to blame us so much. I will look at the systemic exclusion, but I'm also saying.
I beg to disagree on why the young people are actually not part of the leadership forum. One is, first of all, the representation. The level at which the government wants the youth to represent.
No, we can compete in the general pool.
Now, in the general pool, how do we compete? The reason why government does not give this as an opportunity is one. What qualifications does someone need to be a member of parliament? Senior 6. Secondly, how much money is supposed to be paid?
3 million.
3 million. How many people can pull off 3 million even after 5 years?
Of course, it is what I talked about, systemic exclusion.
So the understanding. Then secondly, the youth, very few people have time to engage in civic education. Very few people don't know anything happening within the country.
But my point was that
Mr. Degratius, at a village level, you don't need 3 million. We don't see young people participating.
That was my point.
Now, I'm coming to you. I'm coming to answer that question.
A minute.
Yes, please.
That is the point I was bringing. That in not all elective positions we need 3 million. But even what we are doing, this civic education, young people will tell us that anytime there is where we are headed, maybe we could be told to Nyankore. And that is what they can tell you. And they do not understand what we are doing is actually, civic education. It is provided under Article 38.
No.
So young people, I can also blame them that we are so much detached, and we feel that these are not our issues. One, even if we contested actually, young people would support the elderly. I've seen it most actually in the NRM primaries, where the old people were participating and also young people were participating. But young people were being manipulated, and that is where we are talking that the National Council that is supposed to protect us from being manipulated is not doing the job. Because young people were there, but people were opting for old people, for the elderly.
Now I get your point of view. You realize that actually the young people that subscribe to the voting process that actually supports the older persons comes in an element where these people are very poor and they're surviving on small pennies actually that are aligned to these political decisions. People are making.
In reality, can you survive on 10,000 that they give you?
What,
or even 3 days?
What they have failed to
what actually
understand.
happens?
No. You see,
What actually happens on ground is this.
What could be done would be that even when they get that money, because we know they are in need, but they would take that money and they vote people because it is a secret ballot, mostly like what we are going to.
I want us to look at an ordinary Ugandan who looks at 10,000 as pleasure. I want us to look at the manipulation that happens within the political campaigns. I want us to dig deep in what is intended by these government officials who give small pennies and actually force these voters to give them the mandate. So in my view the arrangement on the political journeys is intended to suffocate the youth. Even when the youth would be aware of what they're supposed to do, you have scrapped of civic education. You don't allow the youth to become.
Let's talk about what could be done, and do we really expect that we could have a different situation? Could they, with young people, come in and revitalize 2026 elections and leave parties in as our final submission?
One, I think it's a high time the youth stand up and express their constitutional mandate, which is meant to influence who and how they lead them. We can question whether our right will be respected or not, but we have a huge percentage of youth that actually shun this right away. Whether it will be respected or not, but if you go to downtown, if you go around Kampala, if you go around villages, there's a very huge percentage of young people, 18 and above, that don't participate in voting.
My biggest question is,
You see, they can cheat you, but there's a time when you can overwhelm the system.
Doctor, we have seen that the system, the electoral system is expensive. We have seen that the environment is not safe.
Yes.
How are we going to extend such an
You see, before we even reach that, first express your willingness. Some people have to go on the forefront and actually be sacrifices. For example, Warrior One.
Now, it's a very sensitive topic. It talks about the approach to our moral dignity vis-a-vis how much we can earn. Because as we move around, the politics rotates on our life, on our lives and how basic we live, basically we live. And to me, the youth continue to shun away from politics because the arrangement on how the politics looks like is very demeaning. Very actually very old people actually who are close to our grandfathers' parents are doing stupid things in the face of politics, and they have almost changed the narratives. So If only we can have a revamp to our moral values and formulate a more systematic revolution, we could have the best output. Then secondly, if only the youth are going to participate in a fair election, in a fair environment that does not involve getting to basement and getting to losing lives, then you could see how fearless the youth are. But if only we can, if we don't change the system, if we don't change the method and the approach towards politics, then we are losing it all. So lastly, I will conclude that it's everyone's responsibility to take charge of who they are, because the politics that we shun away, I I majorly blame the elites, the people that understand, the people that would have represented these positions, and then they don't take with immediate effect. I don't really like the response to the politics and the environment. Let everyone take the responsibility. Go wherever you can, even when it doesn't mean, even if it would mean to represent your ideas. Take a stand, represent your ideas, make sure you have an impact on society. It's not about being a leader. Even when you try the advocacy, you would still be not just being in elected politics. So everyone has a right to say. It begins from the right to the rights to freedom, the rights to our lives, and this is going to be an interesting generation to our society. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I think this is not time for us young people now to demand accountability. It's time for us to participate. Let us go and participate and expose those things that we think have not been done well. If we think that politics has been it has been commercialized, let us expose them, because we do not have money. Definitely, we are not going to put in anything. So let them put in money, and we shall expose that happening. And then also, what needs to see our politicians now, the leaders that we have elected, they take themselves as gods. Like, I vote you, and then you want me to pass through a PA, or to see you, to tell you my issues. I have to first go through a certain process. Like, they take themselves as gods. We are going to come and demand accountability. We are going to push out from those offices. Trust me, the day is coming.
Yes, finally, I have to tell you that young people, we are very many in this country. We are 75% of the general population of our country, and by this percentage, we can actually determine the outcomes of election. So, therefore, I'm just empowering young people that let's not have that apathy in us. Let's not feel so much detached. The fact that politics is not for us, politics is this, these are misnomers that need to be dispelled. But it is high time we participated in full, because we are not going to keep quiet when everything is getting bogged down, and we feel whatever that is created, we are to be the victims. These people have created generational wealth that even after the coming generations, they are going to be with. But how about us now? We have graduated from universities. We see whatever that is going. Let's see, and even when we know we have solutions, but we tend to keep quiet and say that those are not our matters. So I feel politics is something we cannot really run away from. It is part of life. It is everything. It is everything, and let's all come out and participate. We realize that no matter what is happening, the environment is really harsh. The monetization is yet another factor. But also, I have to say that at times, we don't also show our willingness. We actually seem not to have direction. Some of the people who are coming out to contest can tell you and can attest to the idea that we seem not to have ideology. Now, if we seem not to have ideology, especially those who have got platforms, and the ideas we are presenting, they seem to suggest that we still need the elderly to give us direction. So it disappoints us. So starting from those who are in parliament, those who are representing us, Honorable Edison Mayo, please come out. Agnes Chilao, please come out. Henry Okot Henry, please come out. Fiona Nyamtoro, please come out and let it start from there. At least we see those who have platform. There is something they are doing. Otherwise, you're disappointing us, and we seem to have a sense of powerlessness, which is going to yield, of course, so many negative impacts. And the ramifications could actually impact us, and we could live looking at what has come out from such. It would affect the generation to come. I thank you so much.
I am still an optimistic person that with our numbers we can actually overwhelm even the
That
irregularities.
sense of powerlessness is what we need to dispel. 75% is a huge percentage.
If all of us showed up
Yes.
and actually voted for the common good,
Yes.
we can overwhelm even the irregularities.
Yes. Everything.
We
Yes.
can overwhelm the
Because
irregularities.
I think the perspective only almost looked at the people that have.
So
the
we
knowledge,
claim that we are the
the
victims,
knowledge.
but what are we doing as the
Then
victims
we,
of the
we
system?
forget that there are people who don't know anything about the actually the recent bills at Parliament. They don't know anything
Civic
about
education is not there, and
It's
yet
nowhere
they are
specified.
it is actually the role of the National Youth
And it
Council
was
and
intentional.
also the government to
very
make sure that
It's very intentional.
to make sure that that is what is should be done. That is why last time we were talking about the National Youth Council failing to fulfill its objectives. Because when do they come out now to give civic education? People are actually, they don't have any information about what is happening. And because we have so many challenges now, they have created the situation
And
where we are only looking
And
for
the airlines
what can
that
make
have
us
kept
survive.
quiet about
Honestly,
the prevailing
when it comes to
circumstances.
politics, people are aware of what is happening, but they live in fear. They live in fear. You cannot speak, my friend.
And
you will be in a
there's
Facebook.
a
Thank you so much, people. I
very
know
hard.
we could talk until
Yeah.
tomorrow. Thank you so much, Doctor. Thank you so much, Bonix. Thank you so much, my co-host.
Sorry,
Please follow us on our social media platforms, The Voice of the Ignored Was Crew on YouTube.
And go and pick those nominations, young people. The 10-year score error, it is done.
Yes, on X, Ignored Vazukuru. On TikTok, Ignored Vazukuru. Please share, like, comment, and make sure that whatever we talk about, we are only being patriotic. We are doing it because we are Ugandans, and most importantly, we are young people. We feel from this, if the policy makers and decision makers can actually get a lift, we could better our country. Thank you so much.